Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom main-handed, knives built where the real.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of 20-Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez, and this show is for those who want ownership, discipline, freedom, and to build a life they've always wanted, one that is earned and not handed to them. Today's episode is the end of Monday motivation. And look, I know that sounds a little abstract, but this is something that I've been wrestling with, something I keep coming back to, and honestly, something that I'm still working on myself. So let me start with a simple truth. Freedom isn't something you find. Freedom is something you become. And most people never become free, not because they aren't capable of it, but because they keep trying to change their life without ever changing who they believe they are. You've seen this person. And if we're being honest, you and I have probably been this person, because I know I have. The guy who is always about to start, always about to lock in, always about to turn it around. It's Monday. He's fired up. New week, fresh start. This is my week. He's got a plan. He's going to wake up early. He's going to hit the gym. He's going to lock in on that business. He's going to stop wasting time. He's going to be consistent. And Monday actually goes pretty well. Tuesday comes around, still pretty decent. Wednesday, he starts slipping. Thursday, he's tired. Friday, it's when all those unplanned excuses starts popping in, like it's been a long week. Saturday, once again, I need a break. Sunday night, anxiety. And then Monday comes back around, and he restarts once again. Same speech, same motivation, same cycle. Week after week, month after month, and year after year. He's trying to build a new life while still living in the same identity. He's trying to be disciplined with his actions while still believing he's the kind of person who quits. The identity always wins. Every time, no matter how much motivation you have. I had a conversation with someone recently, and he told me that he'd been working on himself for 3 years. So I asked him, what changed? And then all of a sudden he got real quiet. And he said, man, honestly, nothing. I keep starting, but I keep going back to the same version of me. I can restart 1,000 times. This is the struggle that many people have. You can restart 1,000 times, but if you don't change the identity underneath, you'll keep ending up in the exact same place. Most people don't need another podcast. Most people don't need another book. Most people don't need another motivational quote that they've seen on Instagram. They already know what they need to do. They know what they should do. And they know they should stop procrastinating. They know they should take care of their body. They know they need to have those hard conversations. They know they should stop numbing out. They know they should stop drifting. They know. And if you're being honest with yourself right now, you know I'm talking to you. You know exactly what you've been avoiding. You know the standard you have been negotiating with. You know the conversation you need to have. So why don't you do it? Because the information isn't the issue. The identity is. You will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. Even if you hate it. Even if it's painful. Even if you want something different. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you will prove it to yourself. If you see yourself as average, you will live an average life. If deep down you see yourself as someone who always starts and never finishes, that's what you will do. Because the strongest force in your life, it's not your goals. It's your self-image and who you identify as. People love talking about goals. Goals are exciting. Goals are clean. But goals don't change people. Standards do. Because standards are what you live by when motivation disappears. And motivation always disappears. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. And your standards come from who you identify as. Someone with low standards will sabotage high goals. Someone with high standards will eventually reach outcomes he never thought were possible. Because standards are not intensity. They're the consistency. They're the backbone. They're who you are on ordinary days, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when it's just you and the decision. And that's where your identity and your standards live. Picture this. We've all been there. It's 5 a.m. Your alarm goes off. You've heard it a million times. And in a split second before you decide, you're standing in a voting booth. You have two options in front of you. Option A, hit snooze, stay comfortable, negotiate with yourself, tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow. Option B, you get up, honor the commitment you made with yourself, and execute. And here's what most people don't realize. Every single day you're casting votes. Votes for the person you're becoming. Every workout is a vote. Every hard conversation is a vote. Every time you do what you said you would do is a vote. Every time you quit, that is a vote too. And over time, those votes become your identity. The person who shows up becomes the person who shows up. The person who avoids becomes the person who avoids. And the person who keeps promises becomes the person who keeps promises. This is why freedom is built and not found, because freedom is earned through identity. One vote that you cast at a time. This is where we can tie in the operator and the drifter. A drifter lives by feelings. An operator lives by standards. A drifter negotiates every day. An operator decides once. A drifter says, I'll do it when I feel like it. An operator says, I'll do it because that is who I am. That's either freedom or a prison of your own making. Freedom is when your life is no longer controlled by moods. Freedom is when you become predictable to yourself and to others. Freedom is when you can trust yourself and others can trust you. Most people can't trust themselves. They've broken way too many promises. They've restarted way too many times. They don't believe their own words anymore. And that's not a motivational problem. That's an identity, self-trust problem. And the only way to deal with that is to start keeping small promises to yourself. You start with 1 and keep that for 7 days, and then keep it for 30, and then keep it for 90. And somewhere in that process, your self-image starts to shift. You start believing in yourself again. You start trusting yourself again. And that's when everything starts to change. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. That's what the world sells. Freedom is having no rules and having no one to answer to. Honestly, that's just chaos. Real freedom is self-mastery, because the person who cannot control themselves is not free. If you cannot control your appetite, if you cannot control your impulses, if you cannot control your attention, if you cannot control your emotions, you are not free. You are owned by comfort, owned by distractions, owned by pleasure, owned by fear. Discipline is your freedom. Ownership is your freedom. The ability to do what needs to be done, even when it's hard. That is freedom. That is strength. And that is identity. Can you say no when you want to say yes? Can you say yes when you want to say no? Can you do the hard things when the easy thing is right in front of you? Here's an exercise I want you to do. I've mentioned this a few times. Imagine a documentary crew. They follow you for 30 days. Cameras on, 24/7. They capture everything. When you wake up, when you eat, how you talk to your spouse, how you handle stress, what you do when you're alone, how you spend your free time, what you watch, what you scroll, how you react to things when they are not going your way. Everything. And at the end of the 30 days, they show that documentary to the people you care most about. Your kids, your spouse, your parents, your best friends, the future version of yourself. Would you be proud of what they see, or would you be embarrassed? Would they respect you, or would they see someone who talks big but lives small? Be honest. You don't need a documentary crew. Your life already is being documented by your actions, by your patterns, by your standards. And the people around you are already watching that documentary. They see it every single day. The question is, what are they learning? And are you proud of what they see? Identity doesn't stop with you, because whether you realize it or not, someone is watching. Your kids are watching. Your spouse is watching. Your friends are watching. Your future team is watching. And leadership isn't what you say. It's what you live. You don't teach discipline with words. You teach it by consistency. You don't teach standards by preaching. You teach it by embodying. And this is where people wake up. Because at some point you realize your life is a model. Your life is a blueprint. And if you drift, other people will drift with you. But if you rise, you give permission to others to rise also. If you have kids, think about your kids. And here's a question that should keep you up at night. If your son inherited your habits, would you be proud? If your daughter modeled her life after yours, would you be honored or ashamed? If someone made a documentary of your life and showed it to the people you love, would they respect you? That's leadership. That's legacy in real time, because the life that you live is the model, not the words you say, not the intentions, but your life that you live day in and day out. What you do when no one's watching, what you prioritize, what you tolerate, what you refuse to negotiate, that's what they'll inherit. At the end of your life, you will not care about how many times you were entertained. You will care about who you became. Did you become a man or woman of standards? Did you become a man or woman your family could rely on? Did you become a man or woman who built something real? Or did you choose to drift? Did you live in comfort? Did you live in excuses? Did you restart until time ran out? Your legacy is built now, on a random Tuesday, an ordinary morning, when no one is watching. Are you becoming the twin version of yourself that reached their full potential? Or would you not recognize them if they were standing right in front of you? One day we will all be gone. And what is left is the impact, the standards we set, the people we shaped. And that's why you cannot afford to keep drifting. Fast forward your life 5 years from now. The same patterns, the same excuses, the same Monday restarts, the same negotiations, the same drift. You're sitting in the same place, same frustrations, same regrets, the same I should have conversations with yourself. And you look back and realize 5 years have passed and nothing changed because you never changed. Now rewind it back. Imagine instead you made the decision today to stop negotiating, to stop waiting for the right feeling, to stop drifting. You started voting for the man or woman you said you wanted to become. And 5 years from now, you were unrecognizable, stronger, sharper, fitter, more disciplined, more free. And when you look back, you realize everything changed because you changed. That's the difference between a drifter and an operator. That's the difference between a life of regret and a life of legacy. The choice is yours, but you have to choose. And look, I want to hit this for a second because I think there's a spiritual weight to this that we don't talk about enough. The idea of identity, legacy, and becoming is not just self-improvement, but it is a stewardship. We've all been given gifts, potential, time, influence. And one day you will stand before God, the higher power, universe, however you look at it, and give an account of what you accomplished on a day-to-day basis and who you became with the gifts that you were given. I don't think he's going to ask, did you feel motivated? I think he's going to ask, did you become who I called you to become? And that changes things. That makes discipline sacred. That makes ownership a calling. And that makes every decision a vote towards eternity. Let's make this real. Here's what I want you to do. You're going to grab your phone. You're going to open the Notes app. You're going to ask yourself, who am I becoming? Not who you want to be someday. Who are you becoming based on the votes that you are casting on a day-to-day basis? Write it down. Then you're going to ask, what would the Titan version of me do today? Not next year, not someday, but today. Would they hit snooze? Would they avoid the hard things? Would they be drifting? Or would they be executing? Write that down too. Then one more. What is one standard you will no longer negotiate with? Because freedom is built one standard at a time. And the person you are becoming is built the same way. Your transformation is not about being loud. It's about being quiet. It's a decision. It's a standard. It's a refusal to keep living as the old version. And if you're listening to this, and something in you knows, I'm done restarting, I'm done drifting, I'm ready to become the version of myself my family and the world deserves, then good. That's where it starts. Not with hype, with identity. Because hype fades, motivation dies, and feelings change. But your identity doesn't negotiate. Identity doesn't wait for the right mood. Identity executes. And that's what separates the drifters from the operators. That's what separates the Monday restarters from those who build legacies. That's what separates the people who talk about change from the people who become the change. All right, here's your freedom challenge. Before you go to bed tonight, write down one standard you are no longer willing to negotiate with. Not, I should be more disciplined. Something very specific. I no longer hit snooze. I no longer skip the hard conversations. I no longer eat like shit. I no longer procrastinate on what matters. Write it down, and then tomorrow, when you're tested on it, because you will be tested on it, execute like the version of yourself that you've already decided to be. No negotiation, no exception, no just this once. That standard is law, because that's how identity is built. One standard, one decision, and one vote at a time. And if you keep the standard for 7 days, then 30, and then 90, you won't recognize yourself. Not because you did something extraordinary, but because you became someone extraordinary through simple, executed steps every day. Freedom isn't found, it's built. And it's built through identity. You don't become free by waiting for the right moment. You don't become free by finding the right system. You don't become free by restarting every Monday. You become free by becoming the person who cannot be controlled by comfort, fear, excuses, drift. The person who lives by standards, the person who executes, the person who leads, the person who builds something that lasts. That person is free. That person is a Titan. If this episode hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's been trying to change their life, but keeps going back to the same version of themselves. And remember, freedom isn't built in the moments of intensity. It's built by people who choose who they are, even on ordinary days. It's built by the people who live by standard, not mood. And if you're listening to this and you feel that pull, like you're ready to stop drifting and actually become the man you know you're called to be, reach out. I may have something coming that can help. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and I will catch you guys on the next one.